Hello everyone, welcome to my series on cloud computing, and today's topic is S3 service in AWS. S3 is Amazon's simple storage service. It's basically a storage service provided online on the cloud by Amazon Web Services. It's very durable. It's 24 by 7 availability guaranteed by Amazon. So Amazon maintains multiple availability zones which guarantees 24 by 7 availability in case one goes down. It is highly reliable and its speed is optimal. It's very secure, cost effective, and flexible. So, those are the different features that S3 provides. Now, let's jump to the Amazon Management Console and log in and try to create our first S3 bucket. Okay, so we are at the Amazon Web Services console in the login screen. So, let's log in with our user ID, the root user ID, and password. Okay, so now we are the AWS Management Control logged in with our user ID. Now we select S3 as the service. So we come to storage and select S3. Now in order to upload objects in S3, we need to create a bucket. Every object that is uploaded in S3 goes inside a bucket. A bucket is basically a collection of objects in S3. So the first step here is to create a bucket. Now, in order to create a bucket, there are certain naming conventions that need to be followed. So to learn those naming conventions, we need to go to the AWS doc site and look under bucket naming rules. So let's visit that site once. So this is the docs.aws.amazon.com site, and we came to the user guide and we selected buckets, working with buckets and naming rules. So if you see, there are certain rules that apply for naming buckets in Amazon S3, such as the bucket names must be between 3 and 63 characters long, so which means that it must be minimum 3 characters and maximum 63 characters. The bucket names can consist only of lowercase letters, numbers, dots, and hyphens. So no other special characters can be allowed. Bucket names must begin and end with a letter or number. Bucket names must not be formatted as an IP address. For example, this is not a valid bucket name format. So these are some of the rules that apply to bucket names when we create bucket names. So if you come down, we have given some they have given some valid and invalid bucket names over here. So these are some of the valid bucket names, while these are invalid bucket names. The reason they are invalid is this contains underscore, this contains uppercase letter, this ends with a hyphen, all those things. Okay, so let's head back to our console and start creating our bucket name. Okay, so we click on create bucket, and it's asking for a bucket name and a bucket region. So in the bucket region, I could select, let's say, Asia Pacific, Mumbai, and the bucket name, let me just give my AWS bucket 1. Okay, so we have a choose bucket option over here. So in case we already have a bucket created, we can copy the settings from that bucket right to this bucket. Now, for the purpose of this particular session, let's just go ahead and keep the default settings and click on create bucket. Okay, so it says that bucket with the same name already exists. So let me just try to change that. And there we go, the bucket is created. And if you see, the access says bucket and objects are not public, so which means that by default a bucket is private. So whenever we create a bucket, by default the bucket will be private. That's the default setting. Now in order to make this bucket public, you have to explicitly set the public option. Okay, let me just click on the bucket name, and this shows the different settings that are available for this bucket. We have the properties tab over here, we have the permissions tab over here, and we have the other settings right here. Now to upload objects to this bucket, we need to go to the objects tab, and this is the upload button. But before uploading an object to this bucket, let's try to create a folder. So we click on the folder icon, we click on the create folder button, and we provide a folder name. Now, S3 doesn't actually create a folder hierarchy similar to the Windows file system. S3 just creates an object with the property as folder with the name folder1, and while displaying it displays the folder structure, but in reality the folder hierarchy is not exactly created in S3. The reference is actually a flat reference. So let's just go ahead and create a folder, and you see the folder1 is created with a slash at the end. Now let's click on the folder1, and inside that create a secondary folder, and let's call it folder2. Once again we go with the default options and go ahead and create, and folder2 is created. Now I click on folder2 and we click on upload to upload, let's say, an image to this folder. So I click on upload. Okay, so let's click on the add files, and in the S3 folder I have a JPEG file. So this is the image that I have that I'm going to upload now. Now we need to click on upload, and it says that the upload is succeeded, and this is the file size, and this is the destination link of that particular file, and this is the file. Now I click on the file and it opens the properties of that file. It shows the owner, it shows the region, it shows the URL, everything. Now let's try to click on this object URL and see what happens. So it says that access is denied, which basically means that I'm not able to access the object using the HTTPS URL, which is because both the bucket and all the objects inside the bucket are in private. It's not public by default, right? So now let's go back to the bucket and go to permissions, click on edit, and disable this block all public access, and just save the changes. Enter confirm. It basically shows a warning saying updating the block public access settings for this bucket will affect this bucket and all the objects within. This may result in some objects becoming public, and this is exactly what we want. So we click on confirm, and now we go to objects, we go to folder 1, we go to folder 2, and we click on the JPEG file, and let's now click on this HTTPS URL which is pointing to the file. It still says access denied. Okay, let's click on permissions and click on edit and click on read under everyone public access, and let's save the changes. Okay, you need to select this checkbox saying I understand the effect of these changes on this object, and click on save changes, and now try to click on this link again, and we can see the image. So now the image is actually public. Now the object inside the bucket, including the bucket itself, is in public and can be accessible with this URL. Now coming back to the properties, if you analyze the URL, it gives the bucket name dot the region, right, and then the folder 1, folder 2, and the JPEG file. And if you see the key over here, it says folder 1, folder 2, and my file name. So this folder 1, folder 2, although it doesn't maintain a hierarchy like Windows folders, still the folder 1 and folder 2 are used as the entire string leading up to the object that we uploaded is used as a key to identify that object. And the same key is present in the URL as well. So today we discussed how to create buckets in S3 and how to upload a simple object in a bucket. In the next video we are going to talk about versioning. Go ahead and try out creating a simple bucket and uploading an object to the bucket and setting the object scope to public. And if you face any issues, let me know in comments, and I'll be happy to post a video for you or help you out in the comment section as well. Thank you.